Thanks for having me as always. Yeah, so this is the second year we have done this rotunda display where we are taking the images, photos of 30 notable women from McLean County history, and we'll be hanging them in our rotunda. And then visitors not only can see who these women are, but they can visit our website through a QR code to read a short biography about each of these women and how they helped shape McLean County history. And let me tell you, it's hard to choose. There are so many worthy women that we could feature in the display. Also worth noting, all of the women who are on display are no longer of this world. They are deceased. Because then if we had living women, that would make it even harder to choose who to include in the display. But these 30 women are from all walks of life, and they all have unique stories. I mean, we have teachers, circus performers, politicians. It's it's amazing. Yeah, so if you've never been to our building, it's the old courthouse in downtown Bloomington. And so when you come in, there's a big rotunda space that's open air, has basically kind of looks like rings that go up to the top, like you could look at the bottom of the dome. And so it's a really great space for us to hang things. That way we can use that space to help tell parts of our history. And so when you come in, there'll be, these big, like there's this big oval portraits of each of the women we'll be displaying. And then there'll be signage where you can scan the QR code that'll take you to our website where it lists the 30 women. And you can click on each woman's photo to learn more about her and how she helped, shape McLean County history. For example, one of the women we are featuring in the rotunda display is Florence Pfeiffer Bohr, who was the first female Illinois state senator, um, and she helped really change things and improve things for women and children, particularly in our state. She was born and raised right here in Bloomington. Her father was governor of Illinois, Joe Pfeiffer. And so we have some really just interesting things about her and what she helped do at the state level to help make Illinois a better place for us all. Yeah. So without giving away all of the new women, one of my favorites that I learned about is a woman from Lexington, Illinois. Her name is Nellie Carnahan, and she owned the only women's dry goods and clothing store in Lexington for a time. She had her business about 15 years, and that business was born out of necessity. Um, she got married, and her husband had started a family, but unfortunately he passed away at a young age of tuberculosis. And she's like, how am I going to take care of myself as a widow with, a young child? And so she started working for other businesses and learned how to become a businesswoman and became a very savvy businesswoman. And then she and another woman partner purchased this dry goods store in Lexington and really made it flourish. She would make business trips to Chicago to bring back all the latest fashions and items, and it was truly the only woman-owned women's clothing store in the area. And people from Bloomington would come, people from the surrounding area would come to Lexington. And she ran it for about 15 years, but she also was very active in the community. She wanted to make Lexington a better place for everyone. And so she's just one of the news stories that we'll be highlighting, not only with the women's rotunda display, but our lunch and learn for the month of March on the 13th, that I will be talking about 10 women from McLean County, some of who are featured in the display that were history making women. Yeah. So last year, when we debuted our first display, people, gave us feedback, and while they loved it, they helped us realize all the women featured were from Bloomington Normal. Now, Bloomington Normal are the two largest cities in McLean County, so it's natural that we have a lot of stories from women here in in Bloomington Normal. But just the light bulb went on, and I'm like, oh my gosh, how could I have neglected getting women from the smaller communities? So I reached out to partners we have at some of the local libraries, the fort in Lexington, which is a genealogical historical society there. And I said, hey, send me names of some of your history making women from your community. And I got so many names. Nellie Carnahan, I learned about a, a soprano opera singer, vaudeville performer, Laura Hoffman, Ruth Bittingham from Hudson, who was big in the National Society of the Daughters of the American Revolution. And there's more. And so I was able to incorporate three of these women, Nellie Carnahan, Laura Hoffman, and Ruth Bittingham, into the display this year. And hopefully people will continue to give me more names of more women from our smaller towns in McLean County so that we can really say this is a snapshot of McLean County history that represents all of us. Yeah. So we swapped out some women. So it'll still be 30. And so I swapped out six that were featured last year to include six new ladies this year. And that's kind of the really nice thing about this project is I have so many stories of so many women. I We have a researcher here. I love her. She's a wonderful volunteer. Her name is Carol, and sometimes research piles just appear in my office. And when I came in Monday, there was a stack this big of more women of McLean County history. And I was like, well, Carol, I don't think I'm going to have any shortage of women to swap in and out of my program anytime soon. But I love that about our local history is that there are so many gems just waiting to be discovered for us to either retell that story because they've been forgotten, everyone that knew them is long gone, or we've discovered them for the first time. And so those are the kinds of things that really like jazz me about my job is just learning more of these stories and me being able to share them with the community in meaningful ways, so that we can keep that history alive. So do come to my lunch and learn on March 13th, Thursday, March 13th at 12:10. I'll be highlighting 10 women from McLean County history, including the three new outlying outside Bloomington Normal women in my program. I think people really enjoy it. It will be live streamed and recorded for those of us who can't make it here in the building. And then we also will be sharing some social media posts in honor of Women's History Month too, some former cemetery walk snippets that you can watch their clips again, other, activities that women were involved with. We're really want to shine the light on these ladies and how much history they have helped make. Yeah, so the Women's History Month display will be up in our rotunda, March 1st through the 31st. It Anybody can come in and see it. Part of regular paid museum admission. We are open and free on Tuesdays till 8 o'clock at night. Regular days is Monday through Saturday, 9 to 5. And you can also just go to our website and click the links to experience those ladies and read their biographies online too. So one, I think really powerful program that we're going to have is next Tuesday, March 4th. We're working with the Office of Sustainability at ISU and Normal Theater to present a documentary film showing called Dirty Laundry. And that is related to our ongoing exhibit about the asbestos tragedy in McLean County, which, for those of you who didn't know, on Bloomington's west side, where the old Chicago Norton Railroad shops were, was the UNARCO asbestos plant. And a lot of workers died due to asbestos exposure due to the company's carelessness. But what people don't know is that there were people getting sick and dying from secondary exposure, which is where this movie comes in, Dirty Laundry. It's two grandsons who are investigating why their grandmother died of this rare cancer that's only caused by asbestos exposure. It's because her husband worked in an asbestos factory and she washed his laundry. That's how she was exposed, because she would shake out the clothes before putting them in the wash. And so we're going to show that film, and we're going to have a panel discussion immediately following, where we're going to have two folks from ISU, Dr. Juan Jim, who's a professor of health sciences at ISU, who's going to be kind of talking about the impact forever chemicals like asbestos have on people and the environment. Adam McCrae, who is the director of environmental health and safety, who is going to be sharing how they continue to handle things like asbestos mitigation in their older buildings at ISU. And then close to home, Terry Redmond, who is from Wapella, whose father worked at UNARCO and ultimately died due to asbestos-related disease. And he's going to be sharing his family's story as part of that panel discussion immediately following this free film showing Tuesday, March 4th at the Normal Theater starting at 7 o'clock. Yeah, it is. And the story of UNARCO, it just doesn't impact Bloomington Normal, like you said. Men from all over central Illinois would come to work at UNARCO, and their families were impacted by it. Terry was telling me the story that when his dad would come home from work, like him and his brothers would like bang out their dad's pants to get all the asbestos fibers out of it. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, just like, so I think it's going to be a really powerful event, a really eye-opening event, and I hope that a lot of people can come join us, because we just don't think about how much our environment impacts our health, the built environment, the environment outside. So it's it's really going to be powerful. Very well. People they come in and they're like they want to know about it, but when they come out, they're just like, I can't believe this is right in our backyard. Like literally, you can go to that site on the west side and there's asbestos rocks. You could just go pick them up off the ground. Like it's it's tragic and shameful that it's still like there, and nothing's been done, and it's just still such an impact on the community and people today. That went up last September, so it will be up through early 2027, I believe. Plenty of time to come and see it. And so come see the film and the panel discussion. Come back to the museum another day to see the exhibit if you haven't. It's worth it. It really is. Yeah, yeah. Well, and the story didn't start here. The plant was first up in Cicero, Illinois, and they were there for several decades, and then workers started getting sick. So what do? They closed up the plant in Cicero and they moved down here to Bloomington Normal. They're here for a bunch of decades. They became Owens Corning. People start getting sick. They move on. I think they eventually went to Paris, Illinois. Were there for a while. People started getting sick. So you see this like cycle, this vicious cycle. We just move on instead of actually like owning up to what happened. I mean, look at the Radium Girls story. Look at that. That is the same thing. Workers having to fight against a company that knowingly and willingly poisoned their workforce and encouraged it. Yeah, so the film showing is Dirty Laundry. It will be a film showing and panel discussion on Tuesday, March 4th. That's next Tuesday, 7 o'clock at the Normal Theater in Uptown Normal. Free film showing. There'll be concessions. We hope you'll not only come for the film, but also stay for the panel discussion. The runtime is about an hour, 15 minutes, so it's not a long documentary. And then we anticipate the panel discussion will probably last about 45 minutes or so after the program. So I would block off like 7 to 9. Yeah, so in honor of the anniversary of Lincoln's lost speech this year, we are working with local artist Troy Freeman of Free Sky Studios in order to do another mural in downtown Bloomington. And this one will be to celebrate and dedicate Lincoln's lost, I put it, quote unquote, speech. um, so if you've not heard about Lincoln's lost speech, it was given at the closing oration of the Bloomington Convention of the Republican Party on May 29th, 1856, which united several smaller political parties in the anti-slavery movement and led to the founding of the Illinois Republican Party. And his speech is one of the most pivotal points in his political career and ultimately like re-energized his career because he didn't have a great political career before this. It was actually kind of going, downhill. And this kind of re-energized people and led to him being nominated for the Republican nomination for president. And so this giant mural is actually going across the street from where the site of his law speech was given because Majors Hall, which the speech was given at, no longer exists. Unfortunately, there's a parking deck there now. But this will be a really great way that we can honor that legacy in Bloomington Normal, and that we can also celebrate, all that Lincoln did. And so in addition to the mural being unveiled on May 29th, the anniversary of the speech, we're also doing a really cool coloring contest where people can go to our website. Anybody, anywhere can do this. They can download the coloring sheet and they can color it and they can submit it back to us, whether you want to mail it to us or if you want to drop it by. And then we're going to select winners at a variety of age brackets, several brackets for kids and one for adults. And then the winners, I believe, will be displayed here at the museum. So we're really excited about this mural dedication, but also, the coloring contest as well. Yeah. One other quick plug I'll give is on March 18th, we are going to have our very own librarian, Bill Kemp, who will be doing a program called Miller Park, an Evening of Stories, where he'll be sharing different stories about the history of Miller Park, the landscape, how the park developed, stories about the zoo, monuments and buildings. So we're super excited that he's going to have that program March 18th at 6 o'clock right here at the museum. It will also be live streamed as well. Oh, no. So, because of COVID in 2020, we have a wealth of programs that are recorded and online on our website. So, you can go to our website, makehistory.org, and there's a link to our YouTube page. And you can go to our YouTube page and there's programs I've given, there's programs Bill's given, there's clips from our cemetery walk, there's lunch and learn speakers, our Breaking Bread series is on there. I mean, just dozens and dozens and dozens of programs on a variety of topics, related to local history, the community's history, that you can go back and, get a bowl of popcorn, grab your lunch, and watch a quick program and learn a little bit about local history. It's really a great thing that was born out of a horrible global pandemic, but and now we make a concerted effort to live stream and record, especially record our programs, because we know not everyone is able to come in person, whether it's a geographical barrier, a physical barrier, or you just don't have time. So having this on our YouTube page is a great way people can learn about McLean County history anytime they want.